Hello everyone, once again welcome to the series of lecture on biochemistry, and today we will be talking about sources and fates of pyruvate. So once again, I'm Dexter Pajarito. If you like this video, kindly consider subscribing to my channel. Here are the sources of pyruvate. First, we have the glycolysis. We know that glycolysis is a process by which glucose is oxidized to form pyruvate. And here, we know that the oxidizing agent is NAD. So this reaction presents the net reaction of glycolysis. And we know that glycolysis has 10 steps. In the process of oxidation, glucose releases electrons, and these electrons are captured by NAD+. In the process, this NAD+ gets reduced to NADH. So we are concerned with these two molecules of pyruvate that are produced in the glycolytic pathway. Another process by which pyruvate is produced is through oxidation of lactate. So here, what we have is lactate being oxidized to pyruvate, and this reaction is catalyzed by lactate dehydrogenase. Since this is oxidation, the NAD+ that serves as oxidizing agent gets reduced to NADH. Another source of pyruvate is via transamination. So here, transamination between an alanine, an amino acid alanine, and an alpha ketoglutarate. So we know that alpha ketoglutarate is one of the intermediates of the citric acid cycle. In transamination, the alanine donates its amino group to alpha keto acid or alpha ketoglutarate specifically, and this alpha ketoglutarate transfers its carbonyl group to alanine. And transamination is catalyzed by enzyme called transaminase. So here, when alanine transfers its amino group to alpha ketoglutarate, alanine becomes pyruvate, whereas the alpha ketoglutarate that receives the amino group becomes glutamate. Another source of pyruvate is due to the action of malic enzyme. Malate, as we all know, is one of the intermediates of the citric acid cycle. This malate is oxidized by NADP. The resulting product is pyruvate. In the process, the oxidation of malate generates carbon dioxide. And of course, the NADP gets reduced to NADPH. Now let's go to the fates of pyruvate. First in the list is the oxidation of pyruvate to acetyl-CoA. This reaction is part of the entire cellular respiration. Now, earlier, we have reviewed what is glycolysis. And we know that glycolysis is a metabolic pathway by which glucose is converted into two molecules of pyruvate. Now, the question is, what happens to these two molecules of pyruvate? Remember that glycolysis takes place in the cytoplasm. These two molecules of pyruvate are brought into the mitochondria. In order to cross the mitochondria, pyruvate will utilize the protein channels, particularly the porine proteins. These proteins are actually embedded in the outer membrane of the mitochondria. Another protein channel is the what we call pyruvate translocase. This pyruvate translocase is actually embedded in the inner mitochondrial membrane. Now, once the pyruvate is already in the mitochondrial matrix, the pyruvate will now be converted into acetyl-CoA. And mainly, the conversion of pyruvate to acetyl-CoA is facilitated by an enzyme, multi-enzyme complex called pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. Now let's go to the process of oxidation of pyruvate to acetyl-CoA. As I said earlier, this reaction is mainly catalyzed by pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. This oxidation is more commonly known as oxidative decarboxylation. When we say oxidative decarboxylation, here the oxidizing agent, our oxidizing agent is our nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. And since this is decarboxylation, so there's a loss of carbon dioxide. So let's now draw the structure of pyruvate. Okay, so we have a carboxyl group here, and then we have the carbonyl group on carbon number 2. Alright, so this is our pyruvate. Now, the pyruvate will undergo oxidation, mainly, as I said, by the participation of NAD+. So since this is oxidation, electrons are released. These electrons are captured by the NAD+. So therefore, the NAD+ will be reduced into NADH. This carboxyl group here is released as carbon dioxide. So let's just write here CO2. Okay, and then this acetyl group here, or the acetyl group here, will attach to our coenzyme A. Okay, remember that coenzyme A has an active portion called amino ethane thiol. And basically, this acetyl group will attach to the sulfur atom of the coenzyme A. Okay, so the acetyl group will now bind to the coenzyme A, forming acetyl coenzyme A. So if I have here the CoA, alright, so here in the coenzyme A, that's where we are going to connect the acetyl group. Okay, so this is now the acetyl group that is attached to our coenzyme A. So this is basically our acetyl coenzyme A, or simply acetyl CoA. So here we have the general products are NADH, carbon dioxide, and of course our acetyl CoA. Another fate of pyruvate is it can be converted into lactic acid via lactic acid fermentation. However, before we discuss lactic acid fermentation, let's recall the aerobic cellular respiration. So under aerobic cellular respiration, the assumption here is there is sufficient supply of oxygen. That's why it's called aerobic. Now, under aerobic respiration, the glucose gets converted into two molecules of pyruvate, and we know that this process takes place in the cytosol, and the metabolic pathway is called glycolysis. Earlier, we have learned that the pyruvates are converted into two molecules of acetyl-CoA. The two molecules of acetyl-CoA are now fed into or brought into another metabolic pathway known as citric acid cycle. One acetyl-CoA is equivalent to one complete cycle of the citric acid cycle. Since there are two acetyl-CoA, so therefore, the citric acid cycle will run twice. The acetyl-CoA serves as fuel of citric acid cycle. And this cycle is also known as oxidation. And mainly the oxidizing agents are NAD+, and FAD. In the citric acid cycle, since this is an oxidation, we know that in the process, the metabolites are oxidized to release electrons. These electrons are then captured by this oxidizing agent. So let's just write here, captured. The electrons that are released are captured by NAD plus and FAD. Then eventually, these oxidizing agents or our coenzyme, they get reduced into NADH and FADH2. Now, the electrons that they temporarily carry will be brought into electron transport chain. In the electron transport chain, the ultimate electron acceptor is oxygen. So once again, in the electron transport chain, our ultimate electron acceptor is oxygen. So these electrons here are the electrons that are released by our NADH and FADH2. So it also requires some protons. So since there are 2 hydrogen atoms here in the water, so let's write 2 protons. Okay, and then to balance the reaction, we can write here 2 electrons also. And since there's only 1 oxygen atom in the water, we can write here 1/2. So this is the simplest ratio of particles to form water. Now, and we know that electron transport chain is also coupled with oxidative phosphorylation. So during oxidative phosphorylation, the goal here is to produce ATP. Alright, so this is the aerobic cellular respiration. So again, under aerobic respiration, there is supply of oxygen. However, if there is no supply of oxygen, what happens to this pyruvate? And that's what we are going to focus under this lactic acid fermentation. In the previous slide, we learned that NADH releases electrons to regenerate NAD+. So the electrons here that are released by the NADH will be brought into electron transport chain, by which the oxygen is the ultimate electron acceptor. So under cellular respiration, the NADH must be regenerated so that it can participate once again or in the glycolytic pathway. However, when oxygen is absent, what will happen? Since in the electron transport chain, the ultimate acceptor is oxygen, what happens when there is no oxygen? So basically, when there's no oxygen, there will be no regeneration of NAD+. And we know that NAD+ is very important because this serves as oxidizing agent in glycolysis. So under circumstances wherein oxygen is absent, the cell will find a way to regenerate NAD+, and that is through lactic acid fermentation. During lactic acid fermentation, the pyruvate that are abundant, as I said, the goal of lactic acid fermentation is to regenerate NAD+, because this is used by the glycolytic pathway. The pyruvate will be acted upon by lactate dehydrogenase, and here it utilizes the NADH. Okay, so this reaction is reduction in nature. Okay, so why reduction? Because the carbonyl group here is reduced by NADH to form secondary alcohol. Okay, this is the carbon number 2. Our carbonyl group, okay, this is the carbonyl group. It gets reduced into secondary alcohol. So this time, this is our lactate. Okay, lactate because the carboxyl group is deprotonated. It's negatively charged. It can also be called lactic. It becomes lactic acid when this carboxyl group is protonated. Okay? So that's the difference between lactate and lactic acid. So lactate is the conjugate base of lactic acid. Now, the NADH that serves as reducing agent, it is oxidized to NAD+. So this NAD+ will now participate in glycolytic pathway. Okay, this time let's talk about alcoholic fermentation, one of the fates of pyruvate. Alcoholic fermentation is accomplished by select microorganisms such as yeast, particularly Saccharomyces cerevisiae. This is also accomplished by some bacteria. In alcoholic fermentation, carbohydrates are utilized to form ethanol. Let's draw the structure CH3, CH2OH. This is our ethanol. Before carbohydrates are converted to ethanol, the glucose undergoes glycolysis to produce two molecules of pyruvate. And we know that in glycolysis, this is an oxidative reaction by which the main oxidizing agent is NAD. The pyruvate that has been produced will undergo decarboxylation. So this carboxyl group here is released as carbon dioxide. So if we have two molecules of pyruvate, therefore, there will also be 2 moles of carbon dioxide. Release of carbon dioxide will result into formation of 2 moles of acetaldehyde or ethanol. This acetaldehyde will be reduced by NADH. So here, the reducing agent is NADH. Since this is a reduction, the NADH will be oxidized to form NAD+. So we know that reduction of acetaldehyde or ethanol will produce ethanol. Alright, now the NADH or the NAD+ that has been produced will now be able to once again participate in the glycolysis. So this is a process also by which NAD+ is regenerated. So this is the processes involved under alcoholic fermentation. Alright, thanks for watching this presentation. If you like this video, kindly subscribe to my channel. See you on the next video.